What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Ravens Media, bringing you Ravens content every single day. If you want to see that daily Ravens content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell as well if you want to get notified every single time I upload a brand new video. Now, in this video today, talking about a new offensive coordinator candidate. Just turned on my light because I realized it wasn't on. But the Ravens have interviewed Todd Monken or Monken. Not 100% sure on exactly how to pronounce it. If somebody could let me know in the comment section, that would be very appreciated. But let's talk about it in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts on this offensive coordinator. Potential. Would it be a great signing? So, 2 days ago, I believe the video came out on Thursday. I talked about how I felt like the Ravens should go young at the offensive coordinator. And I also mentioned that I think, getting someone from college could be something that would be really smart. Monken is from college. He was the offensive coordinator at the University of Georgia the last 2 seasons. I believe he started there in 2020, so he's been there for about 3 seasons, actually. But the back-to-back national champions. That first off is like, okay, they've had some winning. He's not coming from nowhere. But he was born in 1966, so he's not a super young guy. He's 56 years old. He's not super old by any means. He does have NFL coaching experience. Let's go through his resume really quickly. I'm not going to talk about like the very early stuff, but his main jobs. He was a Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver coach, 2007 to 2010. Oklahoma State offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach until 2012. Southern Mississippi, he was the head coach. Then he was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator / wide receivers coach from 2016 to 2017. Then he was just the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator in 2018. 2019 was the Cleveland Browns offensive coordinator. Then he went to Georgia, offensive coordinator / quarterbacks coach. That right there is the quick resume. Let's talk about him as a whole because those are some interesting teams that he's been on. He's not coming from a notorious staff or anything like that. He's not somebody that's just like, oh yeah, he's from the Belichick tree, he's from the Shanahan tree. He was underneath Freddie Kitchens recently, who I know some people highly regard Freddie Kitchens. I'm not a huge Freddie Kitchens fan, but he was under Dirk Ketter, but he got fired by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Bruce Arians was like, yeah, we're not going to keep this guy. He's going to bring in his own people, which is fine. Bruce Arians is a potential Hall of Fame coach, so he can bring in whoever he wants. So I don't think him leaving the Buccaneers is vindictive of his abilities or anything like that. But let's look more deeper into the teams that he's coached. And I'm going to try and do this whenever the Ravens end up interviewing coaches. I had to catch up on a lot of the interviews, but I will look at them and I will talk about some of the metrics and things that those teams had. Let's start off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's look at 2016. We all know the quarterback back then. That was Mr. Jameis Winston. And in that season, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a total of 4,090 passing yards out of Jameis Winston. They total about 4,100 yards, which isn't bad by any means. They had 29 passing touchdowns. They had 18 interceptions. Jameis does turn the ball over. That's not something that's not expected. And then rushing the football, they rushed the ball for 1,600 yards and 8 touchdowns. Not bad by any means. But the big metrics that I like to look at is team conversions. Third down conversion percentage. I like to look at fourth down conversion percentage because that's huge with the Ravens. And most importantly, red zone conversion percentages. All right. Here we go. Let's talk about it. On third down, they were 43.9%. On fourth down, they were 44.4%. In the red zone, they had about a 52% touchdown percentage. Now, these statistics are not fully on the coach. This is Jameis Winston that is starting at quarterback. That's one thing. If it's Jameis versus Patrick Mahomes, you're going to make different plays. I mean, this is also very young Jameis early in his career. He was turning the ball over a lot. I don't think those stats are terrible by any means. I don't think that those are something where it's like, if you go out and you look and you see, okay, wow, that was really good or really bad, it's like, okay, that's something to be excited about. But we have to remember he's not doing this with the best team in the world. But looking into the next season, 2017, let's look at those percentages again. 43% on third down, 50% on fourth down. I like that. And 49% on red zone. The Ravens this season, I believe, were 40%. overall on fourth down conversions throughout the year. I know that it was like that going into the wild card weekend, but I don't think this counts postseason attempts. So that's something that the Ravens struggled with, was fourth down play calling. Overall on the season, Jameis Winston got hurt this season or benched. I can't remember exactly which, but they threw for 4,607 yards, 26 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Fitzpatrick was the backup. He started 7 games. They were throwing the ball. They were gunslingers. Rushing the football, it was a committee. Once again, it was running back by committee. They ran the ball for 1,450 yards, so a little bit of a decrease there. They ran the ball for 8 touchdowns once again. A decent season. The team ended up going 5-11. These were not great teams. Okay, we have to remember, like, he wasn't coaching, high-powered offenses. But getting into the next year, 2018, this was his final season with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This was, I think, maybe the best season from their offense. Oh, it definitely was the best season from their offense, because this was Jameis Winston's big year. This was Jameis Winston's final year in Tampa Bay. This was the notorious, basically 30-30 season, because they went out there and Jameis Winston threw the ball for 2,992 yards. I'm sorry, this was the year before that, but the team threw for 5,358 yards. Jameis threw for about 3,000. Ryan Fitzpatrick started in 7 games, and he threw for 2,300. This offense put up numbers, and this was when he was purely focusing on the offensive coordinator position, not just the quarterback's coach. Third down percentage, 46%. Fourth down percentage, 69%. Red zone touchdown percent, 60%. They got a lot better. And I think that comes with development. That also comes with, some of the other plays that they were doing. They were running the ball very well. Again, running back by committee, a little bit. It was, a lot of Peyton Barber. That was kind of the leader of that group, but they used Jacquizz Rodgers, a little bit of Ronald Jones. But this was a decent year for them offensively. They put up really good numbers under him. They were converting. The record wasn't very good. They never had a good defense, especially with Jameis there. That was prior to when they brought in Bruce Arians. They brought in a lot of vets. But overall, that's a decent season, in my opinion. And then he becomes the offensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns. And this is a different offense. This is 2019. Then this is Baker Mayfield. And this is Nick Chubb. And this is Kareem Hunt. So let's look at I'm sorry, I don't think Kareem Hunt was on this team. He was. Okay. Had to confirm. But in this season, they went out there and they had a good offensive year. Baker Mayfield, 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns, 21 interceptions. Again, he's never had great quarterback play as an offensive coordinator, but they did pretty decent in the red zone, 58% touchdowns in the red zone. Fourth down, not amazing, 41.2%. And then third down conversions was not good, 36% on third downs. Running the football, this was one of Nick Chubb's best seasons. Nick Chubb put up 1,494 yards. The team rushed for 1,900 yards. So the thing is that when you're looking at this and you're looking at his history in the NFL, I will talk about college in a little bit. He has been someone that has put up, good rushing as well as good passing numbers. There's been balance, and I think that's something that a lot of Ravens fans have been asking for. And now when we look into college, what is the Georgia offense been predicated on? They've had good running backs. They've had a balance. It hasn't been Stetson Bennett throwing for 5,000 yards. It's been, look at this. They have good running backs coming out. They also have great tight ends. They have a tight end that potentially could be a second-round pick this year. They have Brock Bowers, who is their main tight end, who's probably going to be a first-round pick next season. And they've been leading that. And then they've had good wide receivers as well. And he's been able to, have a competent offense going alongside a great defense, because when they won the championship in 2021, the Georgia offense was nothing crazy. It was good, but it wasn't something crazy. Last year, Georgia had a very good offense, and that developed, and they were, because a lot of people looked at them as being the same, just crazy good defense. But everyone, I want everybody to remember something right now when I say this. The Baltimore Ravens have a defense where if you can have a balanced offense and control the clock like Georgia did in 2021, you will be able to have success, because the defense will force turnovers and it will get you stops. The Ravens don't need a crazy high-powered offense. Would I like a high-powered offense? Yes, but he does have experience winning with an offense with a great defense, and not turning the ball over a ton. Because in the NFL, he had not the best quarterback play, especially when it comes to guys that throw interceptions. He had Jameis Winston, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Baker Mayfield. That is like touchdown and to interception ratio. Purgatory right there. Like that's almost even with those guys consistently. So overall, I feel like this isn't my favorite option, but I do like that they're looking at college, and I do like that they're looking at winning because he is someone that has won the last two national championships as the offensive coordinator, and they've had very good players coming out of that program. And he's coached them, and he's coached tight ends, and he's coached the assets that the Ravens have, which is tight ends, very good offensive line, and good running backs. Like that, like that's the Ravens offense. Those are the players they need to maximize, is exactly what he did at Georgia. So, you know, this isn't my favorite option, but I do think that this is a decent choice. I'm glad that they interviewed him. Just getting another, because all the other player or coaches I feel like the Ravens have interviewed have been, oh man, we're going to turn this offense into a juggernaut. I don't think Monken is going in. I mean, obviously, he's going to have ideas. He's going to try and turn this offense into something great, but he has it from a different angle where you can look at it and say, hey, you have a great defense. What I'm going to do is we're going to control the clock. It's not about crazy explosive plays. We're going to control the clock. We're going to move the ball, but we're going to control the clock, and we're going to reduce possessions because we know that we can utilize Lamar Jackson's talent and Mark Andrews and the tight ends that we have to control the clock, reduce possessions, and win football games. Which I think is a different perspective from a guy like Zach Robinson, who I really like. I think Zach Robinson is probably my favorite candidate so far, where he's going to come out and say like, "Hey, we can utilize this run game to be able to have just crazy explosive plays and get those big touchdowns quickly." I like that the Ravens are going in multiple directions with their interview process. Now, this isn't my favorite direction, but I like that they're truly looking at all angles because John Harbaugh said they were going to have a wide search. And I feel like a lot of people were like, oh man, he's just going to look at his buddies. I feel like he's doing more than that. And I want to commend John Harbaugh. I'm not the biggest Harbaugh fan, but I have to give him props when he deserves it. And I think he deserves it in this coach search where it's like, okay, he's legitimately looking at everything. I think that's well done. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content, and I'll see all of you again tomorrow.